So I reiterate here, the bill is dead.
The story of this great city is about the years before this night. We are free!
Hey, what's up? This is Ho Ho Hong Kong. I am Andy Curtin. I'm sitting here with Vivek.
Mimu.
Mama hoo hoo.
Mama hoo hoo. Like a DJ.
Where do people find you online, buddy?
At Funny Vivek with or without the letter M, depends on your luck today.
And you can find me at Andy Curtin on Instagram, Facebook, all of that stuff. Oh, we also have a Facebook group called Ho Ho Hong Kongers. You can check that out and get in there. Lots of fun stuff. And if you're enjoying the podcast, please hit subscribe. We are also on patreon.com/HoHoPod putting out a bonus episode every Thursday. Lots of other fun content. And if we get 6 more subscribers, patrons, we're going to...
I'm actually talking to some land developers and building developers to see if they could donate a flat for our Ho Ho Hong Kongers.
Yeah. Side note, it's in Sheng Shui.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It's worth 20 million Hong Kong dollars, but
exactly.
it's in lower Shenzhen. No.
Yeah, exactly. And the flat may not be an actual apartment. It may just be like a kebab.
So we're going to give that out when we get our first million patrons. One of them is going to get half an apartment. And I am drinking a delicious coffee from Manna.
Yeah, me too. I got my mocha spelled M-O-K-A because sustainability.
Guys, Manna is a venue sponsor of the podcast, and they are fantastic. So please get down there. They're on Staunton Street and a bunch of other locations around the city. Now, today's guest is Antony Dapiran, who is a prominent Australian lawyer and writer, author of City of Protest about Hong Kong's umbrella revolution, and a later book, City on Fire, about the 2019-2020 protests, and our resident political commentator. Thank you so much for coming back on, Antony.
G'day, it's a pleasure to be with you again.
What's the next? I'm thinking about your next book. What are you going to call it? City of Ash?
City in humidity. That's what it is.
City in a puff of smoke.
That City on Fire could be about the climate.
It could be, yeah. It could be, yeah. It depends on like who's picking up the book. It's like, oh, this is a great book.
It's been a little while since we chatted to you. It was January. I had to check. It was this year.
Right.
It wasn't 5 years ago.
Time feels like it's, living kind of years in a week, right?
Is it? It's so weird because it's such a cliche thing to say, but it feels like I haven't seen you in super long time. It really does.
Yeah.
Too much has happened. Like it's just like just finished May.
But isn't it weird though? But it also feels like time's like flying. Like I keep forgetting that there was a year between 2021 and 2019.
Yeah. True. That
like when I update people on stuff, I'm like, 2 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, wait, that was what did I do last year? I don't remember anything. You just remember sitting and
we just all sat inside and watched Netflix for a year. I think is kind of what we did last year. Basically,
everyone subscribed. Netflix had the best year ever. Thank you, COVID. I'm like, did Netflix come up with COVID? Actually, I think that's their strategy. They probably came up with that.
I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah.
Now, when we last spoke to you, the situation was that there'd been a lot of arrests of the Democratic lawmakers. There'd been a protest where the Democratic lawmakers stepped down. Mm-hmm. And at that time, the NSL was being used, but there hadn't been any convictions. How have things progressed since then?
So I guess a couple of big developments in the last few months since we last spoke. The first one is that of those 50-something Democrats that were arrested in January, 47 of them have been charged now with subversion under the national security law. Of those, 36 are now sitting in jail awaiting trial. They were denied bail.
36 denied bail.
Yep, and that includes pretty moderate people, people like Claudia Mo, who's sort of this sort of aunt-like figure among the traditional sort of pan-Democrat politicians, and many others, young and old.
I mean, like Claudia Mo is I think they wanted to be inclusive. I think that's what it was. They were like, we got to make sure we get a good.
We need diversity.
Yes, exactly.
It does seem like the decisions to sort of free certain people from bail was kind of representative. It was kind of, well, we got 3, we'll let you out. We'll let you out. You're kind of okay. They just sort of randomly picked a small handful to release.
Probably just picked the guys who were not that famous or the names were difficult to pronounce.
But as a lawyer, what does that say to you?
I I think the crazy thing about all these bail decisions is that the court goes through this, what they call this predictive exercise to try and foresee into the future whether if they let you out on bail, you're going to endanger national security again, which for a start is kind of ridiculous because, they are being asked to magically predict the future. But also the way that they've been making the decisions is they look at your past behavior and they say, well, in the past, you've done A, B, C, bad stuff that threatens national security. So we think you might do it again, so we're not going to let you out. Ignoring the fact that when you did that stuff before, you weren't under immediate threat of being thrown into jail if you did it, right? So even now you could promise, well, I'm obviously not going to do that stuff again because now I know that if I do it, you're going to throw me in jail. But the court doesn't buy that. They just sort of say, no, well, because you've done it in the past, you might do it again in the future, therefore we're denying you bail.
Yeah, it's like...
It's like terrible parenting advice. It's like you messed up once, you peed in your pants, you will never be allowed to pee again.
That's right.
Right, like it says here, when you were a child, you yelled, "I'm going to live forever." You're like, but I'm on life support now. I don't think I'm going to yell it out again.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And therefore, you will not get life support anymore. It's like what?
So I mean, kind of the argument that was, we'd heard a little bit from people was, oh yeah, there's been a lot of charges, but convictions are not going to be that frequent. I mean, it's clear the national security law has ended on the high end of how much use I think people might have anticipated.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, the government, when they first announced it, said it's only going to apply to a very small minority, and people had in mind sort of violent frontline protesters who were maybe getting arrested, sort of for throwing Molotov cocktails or whatever. But it's been much larger numbers than people thought, and people involved in sort of peaceful acts, pure political speech acts, and things like that. Now, we haven't actually seen any trial reach the conclusion yet. So everyone who's currently sitting in jail are basically awaiting trial. And I think the first trial we're going to see is of the young guy who was arrested on the 1st of July last year, the first day the law came into force with the motorbike. Exactly.
Yeah.
So he's just been
Wait, what's the motorbike?
He was the one who had the flag on the motorbike.
Oh, and he rode through downtown.
He rode through, and I think it was Wan Chai, right?
Yeah, that's right. The protest in Wan Chai.
I remember.
He was the first arrest under the NSL, and he's been charged. I think he's also denied a jury as well, right?
Denied jury trial, that's right, yeah. So his lawyers were just appealing against that, and I think that appeal process is still ongoing. He's trying to get a right to a jury trial that the DHA wants to stop. But I mean, essentially, he was riding his motorbike, had a flag with a certain slogan on it on the back of the motorbike. Cops sort of blocked the road and he crashed his motorcycle into them, and now he's being charged with terrorism and subversion. There you go.
So never ever drive badly, Hong Kong people / Asians.
I've always thought it was too dangerous to ride motorbikes, especially in this city.
Exactly. Sometimes when you have like a bad flapping flag at the back of your motorbike, it does screw around with the driving technique that you can use. So I don't blame him.
Aerodynamics.
Yeah, exactly. I would know the man without the license of driving.
But he'll be the first, and then we'll probably see trials for these 47 Pan Democrats that were all arrested in connection with the primary election they had last year. And then I think we'll be coming up maybe later this year. All of them again have been charged with subversion, and we'll see how it goes. I mean, I've got to say a lot of the bail decisions make kind of alarming reading. The decision on Claudia Mo's bail was actually just announced last week, and the things that the court pointed to as the reasons why she shouldn't be bailed were basically for talking to the press. I mean, they cited a lot of WhatsApp messages between her and Benny Tai around organising the primary, and then listed a whole bunch of different statements she'd made to the BBC and the New York Times and so on about her feelings about the situation in Hong Kong, and citing that as evidence of her threatening national security, which for someone who speaks to the press a lot is kind of a frightening thing to see.
True. Yeah, I mean, that's why you have to be... Nowadays, whenever anyone talks to you, first of all, just don't. Hence the reason this podcast has limited listeners.
We're safe as houses.
You think we don't want to be popular?
The media won't talk to us.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the reason why we have a small number of listeners is because of our security. I mean, this could be huge.
Oh, I would.
We're not letting it become huge.
I'm capping the number of downloads. That's
exactly.
What I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's only sensible. Yeah.
Exactly. No, but I was reading the article about her bail issue, and talking to the foreign press, and specifically foreign press as well. They were like more upset the fact that she was speaking to foreign press. They're like, what about us? You don't talk to us? Okay, you know what? Slap you with this law over you, right? And it's weird because, as you said, it was a lot of people who said stuff before this was even an issue,
right?
and it's being held basically what's the word, retroactive?
Yeah.
They're getting called upon
Yeah.
that. So just imagine that, like, in your life, like, people could use that against you.
Right.
Like, everything you say, you can have, like, not even second guess. You're like 10 guess yourself. Like, would you want sugar with that? I don't know.
I mean, if everyone retroactively looks at things I've said, I am in big trouble because I've said everything.
Well, it will give you one more hit on every YouTube video, so that's also a good thing, you know.
We were doing a show the other night, and he's like, "Yeah, China Daily's filming." I was like, "Oh,
yeah.
Should I do different material?"
I was like watching her, like, did she press the record button? Not yet. It's good. Go. Keep doing your set. Yeah, it was bizarre. I mean, nowadays you have to kind of worry, as in, it may be lighthearted, but what is lighthearted today?
Right.
May, you know, tomorrow suddenly sound like, what did you say?
Yeah,
Did you say you were
exactly.
crossing the road? You know, why is the chicken cross the road? Oh, what are you trying to say? You trying to leave the country? It's like, what?
Well, I have only ever lived in, let's say, I've never lived in pre-protest Hong Kong. Have they always been so afraid of the foreign media?
I don't think so. No. I mean, like, in general, I've never ever had this feeling of, like, the foreign media are the enemies and the bad people. It's just like, they've been here, okay, fine, you know.
Yeah.
If anything, I think a lot of people get excited. They're like, oh my God, I was on TV. Which channel? You don't even have it. It's not the local cheap ones, the ones you have to pay for. Like, oh, you made it. You made it good, you know. So yeah, I've never heard of the idea of, like, foreign press being, you know, bad or negative before.
Yeah,
Even like during Occupy Central and everything, you know, like, there was no real talk about them interfering or anything like that. It's just recently. Literally, once you arrived, Andy, they were like, we don't like these.
Yeah.
They were like, get out of
Hey,
my
they're
country.
not talking to me either. I'm like, hey, you want to interview me? No. For political reasons, no. We're not interested.
Yeah, so I mean, it's crazy. I mean, before that, Hong Kong was kind of a normal place, right? I mean, just, you know, media was normal, everything was normal.
Well, Hong Kong normal.
Well,
Yeah,
Hong Kong
exactly.
normal, but no, not normal.
It was
but
the
now
most
it's
normal, bizarre place in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, like, foreign media in general in Hong Kong kind of, because, like, for example, like, a lot of news in local media would be, like, coverage of small details. It had to be really big issues for the foreign press to be like, oh, we want to cover that. I mean, a good example would be when there were the no, I wouldn't say abduction, but, like, a whole bunch of people that had to, after Ursus, the breakout in Ursus, and, like, the Penny Bay thing where people, like, went on quarantine, all of a sudden, like, the foreign or the English press were, like, all interested, you know, filming from there. And it was funny because, like, the Chinese press was like, we did this whole thing a year ago. How are you just covering this issue?
Yeah, but white people are in there now.
Right.
Exactly, yeah. And we can interview them and they can actually respond, and so we don't have to translate it, you know. So, I mean, I get it. So it takes a lot for, like, the foreign media in Hong Kong to look into these small kind of domestic issues. But then I think that's the problem is now.
But they also need their angle. I mean, I experienced this a lot doing, you know, we got huge amounts of coverage for stand-up in China, but it was like, there was the first year of everyone being like, there's stand-up in China. Let's have everyone write, like, Bloomberg wrote a story about it, Economist wrote a story about, like, all of these big publications. And then that story was done. And since then, there's only been two angles that have been of any interest. And one is censorship, and the other is that women are doing stand-up. That's it. You can barely get them to write about anything else.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean,
And I
like,
think that you really, it's like, it isn't about what even the foreigners here find interesting. It's like their readership don't really care about Hong Kong unless
understand,
there's a story that sort of piques their interest somehow.
Yeah. Because, like, that's why if you commit a crime in Shamshipo, you'll never know. Foreigners, you'll never know. Shamshipo is too far. They're like, doesn't matter.
Well, it's like the old adage that all news is local, right? So there's always got to be a local angle to whoever's reporting it, whether it's, you know. Yeah.
Well, here's a question. What is happening with... Because you have pretty good contacts within the... I mean, you're a journalist yourself, in a way, of writing pieces. What's happening in that community? Are people leaving?
There's a mixture of things. There are certainly people leaving. I think, you know, all of us, I'm sure, know people who are leaving, have left, about to leave, planning to leave. And so there's certainly an element of that. There's elements of people who are just sort of ceased all activity. People who might have in the past been very active, you know, joining protests or being very outspoken or being very active, organizing amongst their community, have just completely gone quiet and sort of shut down and just, because they're afraid of what the consequences might be.
I mean, I understand it, but it's so sad.
It is. It is sad that people who are very engaged with the community and contributing in really positive ways to civil society in Hong Kong are stopping doing that because it's too risky. and other people who sort of I suppose doing the good Hong Kong thing of just laying low and making money and sort of that old cliche of what people thought Hong Kong was like, which I think 2019 really revealed that it's not really. Maybe it's sort of in a little way coming back to a certain degree of being accurate.
Yeah, but I would say like it's different. Like now you're being forced to kind of put your head down and just like do your own thing. Just shh, be quiet. It's not that you want to be quiet. You want to say stuff, but you can't, right? So that's the issue. I think.
And you get situations like the only protest that's going on really right now is not taking a vaccine.
Yeah,
right. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's weird because it's two ways, right? Whereas like on one end is like the vaccine's for your own well-being, it's for your own health. It's not really an issue about politics. On the other end, it's like, no, well, I just don't like you. Right. And the fact that you told me to do it, I won't do it. I mean, I always joke about how the government's trying to, get people to take the vaccines, through whatever programs. And of course, now the developer is giving out flats. Everyone's like, okay, we can do that. Which again shows you.
Just to make that clear for people who don't know, there are property developers awarding on like a lottery apartments to people who've taken the vaccine.
Correct. Which
only permanent residents
for the apartment, but the $100,000 one is for anyone with an ID card.
Really?
Yeah.
I have an ID card.
Yeah, there you go, Andy. It's time to put your name down. Which is funny because this shows the true reflection of how Hong Kong is controlled through the property tycoons. You see, the government could do nothing again.
What if they'd said in 2019, for anyone that doesn't go to the protest are in a lottery to win a $10 million apartment?
People, yeah, definitely. There would be a lot of like, oh, wait a second.
They would have like 3 people.
Exactly. Everyone else is lining up like, where do I go? Where's this place? Then again, the apartment's in Kwun Tong, so it's not that convincing of like,
investment property.
And it's like 350 square foot or something, right? Like
exactly.
It's kind of one of these micro apartments.
I bet you it's one of those things that's going to be like on the 13th floor. It's going to be the worst flat ever. The one with no view.
Feng shui. Like the bed is facing the window.
It's like a brand new apartment, but there was a murder during the development.
3 construction workers died in that apartment.
Several known ghosts.
Exactly. Yeah, it's one of those things. And you walk in, you're like, okay, I feel like I shouldn't have taken the vaccine. It's making me dizzy in this apartment. Yeah, so probably one of those, but that's all right. Everybody's kind of like investment. That's all it really is, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, so that's another weird thing is that the vaccine has been a very significant way for people to kind of force the government to kind of bow down. I would bend over a little bit because the government wants everyone to get vaccinated for your economy to kind of restart and everything. But at the same time, everyone in Hong Kong, first of all, doesn't trust government, which is so Hong Kong, as in if you tell me to do it, I will not do it, right? Which is why I keep telling people the government should try to basically one-up us and be like, I dare you. I bet you guys are too chicken to get the vaccine. And the whole of Hong Kong is like, what'd you say? What'd you say? Give me all of them right now. Left arm, right arm, let's do this, right? I guarantee it'll be a completely reverse psychology. Unless you give away free flats. Then yeah.
Well, one of my friends is saying that it's kind of a failing of the government that they haven't realised that this is a real bipartisan issue where they could have gone together and gotten some voices that are, perhaps looked upon friendly by the Democratic position and say, get this done. And ironically, opening, if you want to keep the connection with the outside world, open up quickly. The longer China keeps its borders up on mainland and here, the more they can keep the foreign world out, and people are leaving and people can't come in.
Yeah, and eventually it's gonna basically blow up in their face. I mean, so that's another thing. Like people are leaving Hong Kong, and of course a lot.
So many people,
right?
like my kid's kindergarten. I like everybody's leaving.
Yeah, I have a few friends who left, but they were smart. They got their vaccine first before leaving. I'm like, okay, smart.
Who wouldn't do that?
Exactly. Now, this is the weird thing because, like, the rest of the world, everybody's like struggling to get vaccines. Especially like my family in India. You got to pay for the vaccine over there. My family in, like, let's say some of them in Europe, and they're like, yeah, we've just finally been able to book a slot like next month. Yeah. And yet Hong Kong, we're having the issue of people aren't taking the vaccine.
Well, it's so much so that we're going to have to throw out all the expired doses,
give them
right?
to another country.
Yeah, sort of like
exactly. Right?
Where we're at,
but I think would you say it's because initially when the whole vaccine rollout started happening, the government kind of gave these really mixed messages with the whole Sinovac and everything, and it caused a lot of people first of all anger again of like trying to force something we don't want down our throat, and B, it's causing confusion as like, wait, do I want the new technology that the government themselves don't want to use themselves, or do I want the old school technology that these so-called officials seem to like?
Yeah, I mean, I think beyond just that outright distrust of the government, I think a lot of the messaging and the rollout has been really botched. Firstly, in terms of the way they really pushed Sinovac before the alternative,
yeah.
And that just led people to distrust them even more. And then the way they didn't sort of build any really incentives at all around being vaccinated at first. So even though you were vaccinated, if you happened to live in a building where there was one positive case, you'd find yourself rounded up and sent to Penny Bay with everyone else.
Yeah.
And so just this sort of this back and forth and sort of these inconsistencies, they'll come up with one policy, then they'll change their mind the next day. And so it's just been a really poorly messaged and sort of poorly planned process, which is at the outset, they said, look, here are the vaccines, here are the incentives. I think people would have had a much clearer message to.
But would you say like the vaccine itself has kind of shown a different side of the government? Because like, let's be honest, the rest of the world, a lot of governments have failed as well in trying to handle COVID.
Oh, no.
I mean, there haven't. Well, exactly. Yeah.
What a controversial statement.
But would you say like Hong Kong? Because Hong Kong technically is not that difficult to manage when it comes to rolling these things out. We have the facilities, we have the communication means and everything. Would you say that this just shows that even with all this stuff built into our system, that you can roll this out so easily, the government is still having trouble, and it's just is incompetence in the government, or would you just say that we just don't like them, therefore nothing will work?
No, I think it's political incompetence and sort of communications incompetence. Like logistically, it's been great, and obviously Hong Kong's geographically a small place, so it's very easy to organize a rollout compared to a big spread out location. But logistically, in terms of the vaccine centers, the appointment making process, everyone who's gone through it and done it.
Smooth,
it's super smooth, super easy,
flawless, yeah.
really great system. So that's been fantastic. Execution kind of 10 out of 10. But as always with this government, in terms of communication and sort of gauging and working with public opinion, kind of 1 out of 10. But that's been the case not just for this issue, but for every issue really going back several years.
Can I throw an idea on the table here? Because I think that pretty clearly mainland China is the government is happy with having the borders shut, and they are the underlying decision makers of everything here. How upset do you think Beijing is that the borders are shut? I think it's exactly what they want.
Which borders? The Hong Kong borders? Or
Yes, both. I think they want them both shut.
I never thought of that. I thought they even wanted to open it as soon as possible.
No.
But I think they definitely want the border between Hong Kong and the mainland to be open, at least from a Hong Kong economy
No, I'm
point of
talking
view,
about like just as one example, like the mainland, Beijing really wants their people to be separated from the rest of the world. And in what they access on the internet, they're trying to whittle down the foreign community. By keeping the borders shut, people are leaving, people aren't really coming back in. They're whittling down the foreign population. They're isolating China from the rest of the world. That's exactly what they want to do.
But why would... I mean, I'm confused.
They're controlling their population. The number one risk to the Chinese government is civil unrest. And
so what they're doing to their people is the same as like air conditioning cold air. You're trying to close all the windows, be like, keep it in, keep the aircon off. We're going to save some electricity today. Don't let it go out. Breathe slower.
There's a draft under the door, quick.
Exactly. Do not respond to the doorbell.
I'm just speculating here, but it just, it's one of these situations where you look at the final outcome and it's like, well, the ultimate decision maker, this is exactly what they want. Is it that much of an accident?
Well, when you put it that way, sort of, dare I say, then they might not be the only government doing that. I mean, people look at Australia, sort of Fortress Australia, right? And again, keeping the borders shut is a politically popular thing for the Conservative government in Australia to do, who've always had a policy of patrolling the borders and keeping out people who are queue jumping and all those kind of things. So I think similarly, it's a politically popular thing there as well to a certain extent.
I can see that makes sense to me, but I also think it's a little bit different in that they are manipulating. I mean, they're an elected government ultimately, right? And they're trying to take a position that benefits what their constituents like, as opposed to Beijing's decades-long program of locking down control over the whole country. I mean, maybe it's not that different. Maybe I'm just biased.
That would ruin the dating scene, though, like in China. Imagine having...
Well, not a lot of mixed babies coming out of there.
Exactly. I mean, like, the new generation, like, they look the same as me. I don't want that. I need upgrades. I need changes, I need upgrades. I need a very...
You can make that joke.
That's true, yeah. All right, let's continue the conversation, Caucasians.
Adam Skews had a great joke. He's like, Shanghai's become so international. The other day, I saw a Western guy holding hands with a Western girl.
We've gotten that progressive, huh? Wow, that is a good sight to see. I wish one day in Hong Kong.
So a couple of things, like at the time of recording this right now, it has not been June 4, which
Yep.
for those who don't know,
I don't know.
what
I don't
happened
know.
on June 4.
I just wanna say I
that's
don't know.
exactly what happened on June 4.
Exactly. I don't know.
And so all vigils have been banned, I guess. By the time this comes out, we will know what happened on June 4.
Yeah. And just a flashback, I guess, for every year in Hong Kong, there's a vigil in Victoria Park to commemorate June 4.
Tiananmen Square.
Tiananmen Square massacre. In 2019, 180,000 people turned out, and that was just a few days before the first of the big 1 million person protest marches happened in 2019 against the extradition bill. So record turnout that year. Last year, the government said COVID, no public gatherings. This is not allowed to happen. People turned out anyway. Sort of tens of thousands of people turned out.
In groups, like in limited groups.
Yeah, they sort of
They social distance.
gathered in social distance, small groups. They did their best to sort of stick to the spirit
And
of
if
the
only
rules.
they'd done that in 1989, they might have been harder to run down. You know what I mean?
All these gaps. I can't fill up these gaps with these bullets.
Yeah. And then the people who any of the prominent leaders of the protest last year or the vigil last year have since been arrested and convicted of
Illegal assembly.
for that. And now this year, the government have again said not allowed. I think again they're citing the COVID rules, even though we were at sort of 30 days of zero local cases
like
now. I
29
think.
or 30,
So you can go to a rock concert, you can go to a church or a big indoor gathering, but gathering in a park outdoors. Too dangerous.
So you can lift up your lighter at a rock concert, wave it in the air, but you can't do it for the vigil.
Right,
You can't
right.
light up a candle.
You haven't been to a
Right.
rock concert in a long time, have you? They do it with their phones now, buddy.
Oh, I thought that's what I meant. No one has an actual lighter. I saw. I have printouts of them. I'm just like they don't care. They wouldn't care. It's like the rock stars talking about. Is that a paper lighter? I can't have this show go on.
That's funny.
And also this year the government have come out with a very strong message saying anyone who tries to go to the vigil, 5 years jail. Anyone who promotes it or sort of tries to encourage other people to go to it, 1 year jail.
You know what's to me ironic? Like anyone traveling on the MTR train towards Causeway Bay at like around 7-8 p.m. that evening, going to be arrested. He's like, "Are you going towards it?" I'm going to one chai. Really? You seem to want to get
No, I just want to use a prostitute. No.
exactly. Oh, that you can go, please. Yeah.
Well, that carries no prison term.
Exactly.
Carry on, sir.
exactly. Don't we remember that one?
Yeah, patronizing such establishments not a problem.
Exactly.
But certainly the police presence, I'm sure in the subway stations that night is going to be huge. And you wouldn't be able to walk down the street in Causeway Bay 5
Candle
meters
stores
without.
have to close early that night.
That's right. Yeah.
Light your cigarettes on June 3. That's
Yeah, that's the
Exactly.
message.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So I guess we'll see if people still try and turn out anyway. One thing that the Alliance, which is sort of the NGO that's organised this vigil every year, has said is that in lieu of having the vigil, people should light candles on their balconies or in their windows at 8:00 p.m. on June 4 as a way of sort of having a distributed vigil sort of throughout the whole city. So it'll be interesting to see if people do that.
But that sounds really risky.
I look forward-
Would people want to do that? I mean, it's your apartment. You
I
can
mean, yeah,
identify who it was so easily.
But during the protest time, there were people in the housing estates that every day at 8 p.m. they would shout out slogans and have
Yeah.
to call
It
back.
took me months to realize what that was. Because I just moved to Hong Kong. I was like, I guess this is the thing they do.
Exactly.
It's 9 o'clock shouty hour.
He's like, okay, firecrackers back home. Okay, yeah, I'm confused now. Right? Yeah, it's gonna be bizarre, man. Like, and that evening, how people are gonna handle it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but well.
But as the Alliance has said, I mean, there's nothing illegal about lighting a candle.
But there is, though. I mean, there is the angle of saying, how hard is it to say it's promoting the vigil? You know,
I pity the person.
but quite literally, lighting a candle could violate this law, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Would you assume that it
you
would?
could interpret
Would
it?
you-
You could interpret it that way. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what's
I mean,
funny?
Would either of you light a candle on Causeway Bay this Friday?
There's gonna be at least 10,000 kids whose birthday is on the 4th. And the parents are like, "It's your happy 18th birthday." It's like, "Mom, put it away." Oh my god! I just turned 18. I'm not a kid anymore. They're
They're
gonna try me as an
and he's just
adult.
blowing it out.
Exactly. They try that kid as an adult now. You turned 18 after the candles were lit. You're like, crap, you got me. So yeah, it's gonna be bizarre. And I bet you the headline's gonna be like, meditation center, people arrested due to one incense stick. Yeah, people be like, what was that incense for? It was for, our guru. Huh?
So that's one whole thing that's happened. Another sort of emblematic case was Jimmy Lai.
Yeah.
Who is the founder of Apple Daily, a publication that's been pretty openly critical of Beijing and the Hong Kong government. How has that played out in a way against your expectations?
Look, no, I don't think so. It's pretty clear that he was sort of public enemy number one from Beijing's point of view, and that he would be one of the key people they target. So he's currently in jail.
But hang on, even saying that,
right?
Aren't you admitting there's no rule of law?
Well, yeah, certainly, yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, they're prioritizing the way that they apply the rule.
Yeah, because
of law.
the law doesn't apply equally to all people at all times. Kind of like I went to law school for like 5 minutes, but that's kind of like for a brief tenet. That's kind of a fundamental tenet of having a legal system. That's
right. I mean,
of any credibility.
Yeah. So the government uses rule of law to justify all of these actions, saying, hey, all we're doing is applying and implementing the law. But clearly, using the law in a targeted way to sort of go after your political opponents, or identifying the people you want to target and then finding which law you can use against them is not the way the rule of law should work. But yeah, I mean, that's what. So Jimmy Lai is he's in jail. He's been denied bail for his national security charges, so he'll face trial on those. I suppose later this year. He's already got a couple of convictions for unauthorized assembly for protests he attended in 2019. So he's sort of started serving that time already. And most notably, recently the government announced they've frozen all his assets in Hong Kong, including his majority ownership stake in Next Media, which owns the Apple Daily. And it seems firstly, it's kind of interesting that the government's become de facto, through the asset freeze, the biggest shareholder of the Apple Daily.
Ironically.
And it seems that is going to, one way or the other, end up in that being shut down, I think, if eventually it sort of becomes starved of funds and is forced to close down. But at the moment, that's the situation.
So do you think that there are... To me, that sends a dangerous message when they were willing to freeze his assets. Do you think there are ramifications for that, or do you think people are going to react to that news?
Look, I mean, I think already there was, from when this law came into force, there was a sense among people that, there's reasons for people with big money. There's reasons not to keep your wealth in Hong Kong if you don't have to, and I think there's been a bit of an outflow of capital from Hong Kong because of that. Other than obviously real estate, which you can't move. And sort of shares in Hong Kong companies, which you also can't move. Anything else that you can transfer out, I think that the high net worth people will be transferring out, because you never know. Once you introduce that kind of political risk into the system, where you never know what the criteria are or who it might be applied to next, you never know what's going to happen in the future. And so, yeah, I think it's definitely something that people will lead people to decide that, yeah, Hong Kong's not the safest place to keep your assets.
Maybe this is the way the government wants to encourage us to spend our money. Don't keep it in the bank. We can freeze it. So go spend it all.
Hey, one way to stop it from being frozen.
Exactly. Have none.
Exactly. Because it's interesting. Maybe it's just my framework for thinking, but I always just assume that the gaps between the way Beijing is behaving and Hong Kong is behaving are just getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And then there's other parallels like Jack Ma or Meituan, these huge tech companies that haven't taken a political stance really, or a very indirect one. Yeah. And people are having big things taken off them at a whim.
Yeah. I think the big lesson is that in the mainland, it's always been the case that everything is political, including business.
And can be taken off you at any point.
Exactly. And that now applies equally in Hong Kong. Hong Kong used to be, business could be kind of apolitical, and we'll just sort of, we'll just do our own thing and make money, and politics won't bother us. I think that era is well and truly over. And business is politicized here in the same way that it's always been in the mainland now. So, yeah.
What do you think? Do you think you'll see more protests?
Look, I'm not going to say we'll never see another protest in Hong Kong again. I just don't believe that. And certainly there were people who, after the umbrella movement back in 2014 ended, were sort of saying, well, that's the end of protest in Hong Kong, and we all saw how that turned out. But look, the calculus has definitely changed, and the risks in people coming out has definitely changed. And I think the government has tried through this new legal system that's in place to try to make the price of dissent unbearably high. But I think there's still going to be, at a certain point, the right cause that comes along, or a way that people sort of figure out how to protest and somehow navigate those red lines. And I think they'll do that, whether it's in a creative or a different way, or just, at a certain point, overwhelming numbers. I'm not sure. But certainly, I don't think we're going to see the same kind of protest we saw in 2019 again. And I don't think it's going to be a very brave person who steps up to try and organize a protest in future. So maybe it's going to be more something spontaneous rather than something that anyone tries to actually
Which is kind of what
take
they tried
leadership
to
on.
do in the last protest, right? Like
Yeah.
the having no head. I mean, I think there was an
Yeah, it was
expression for it.
leaderless, right?
Yeah.
Leaderless,
certainly.
Yeah. Yeah, the idea, because like in the umbrella movement, basically they arrested and charged the quote-unquote leaders of the whole movement, right? So in 2019, everybody learned, okay, have no head, so they don't know who to pick. So that was the idea, and just evolved, and people just kind of knew what to do through, It's very interesting because it became like a crowd-funded direction where everybody just kind of had a little say. This seemed to pop up, and the whole discussion was just like a Reddit post where if a lot of people seemed to like vote it up, that was the next action that we're doing. So everyone seemed to like this idea. We're just going to end up with that, and that became it. So it was always a moment of like whatever seemed to be most liked by people. So I guess the next protest movement will probably be someone's Instagram page.
I knew you were going for that. I was like, he's got something. Here we go.
Yes, I'm hoping. Follow me at Funny Vivek on Instagram. I'll take the risk, people.
What's your view? Do you think you'd see another protest in this city?
I think you will. I mean, like as you said earlier on, we never expected 2019 the way it was when it was like 2014. We're like, I don't know, man. I can't see anything happening. In 2019, like, what? And I'm sure, like, another surprise. This is the thing with Hong Kong, is that just when you think we could not have any other weird things happen, all of a sudden, boom, this is something like, oh, I never thought of that, but that's a great idea. So I think there will be. It'll just be a different way. Because remember, a lot of people who are young now, in 5 years later, they're going to be at a point of more power. They'll be, in the working force and everything. And all of a sudden now you'll have some kids who are like, yeah, I invested 10 years of my time to be in this, and now I can finally use where I am. I leverage my position and protest. There's definitely going to be a lot of this. That's why the umbrella movement had a new generation of people who are maybe just young kids. Now suddenly 5 years later going like, I prepared 5 years for this. It's literally like a Rocky movie, right? It was Rocky 1 was the umbrella movement where you just run upstairs, hey, I can do this, right? Rocky 5, he was like, I'm married, I'm having kids, So there you go.
The next one's Creed.
So,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So when was the gigantic Russian injecting steroids phase of the Hong Kong
That
protest?
is
Did we miss
exactly
that?
where my brain went.
Oh, that was
Who's Dolph Lundgren in this analogy?
Mr. T as well with the that's missing as well. Yeah, that was covered
You're
by
Mr. T.
No, that was covered by the foreign press, who apparently is not here anymore. So that's gone. So that's what I think. I really do think so. Because like the trilogy, this franchise is fantastic, and I don't think Hong Kong people are gonna let it go. I'm telling you, man.
They love movies too much.
Exactly.
The Hong Kong protest character universe is just too, too powerful.
You
of a
know, it's
franchise.
funny because the guy that just got locked up was wearing an Avengers shirt. Did you see that?
No. But there was a famous protester, Captain America,
Captain
right?
America,
He used to dress up in the Captain America outfit.
He would actually dress up in Captain America with the Captain America shield.
Yeah,
And he was known
yeah.
for that. You would see him out in the protest, like, hey, that's Captain America.
Yeah, I think he got arrested, right?
Yes,
He
yeah,
got jailed.
yeah.
yeah.
Sadly.
Yeah.
That's why.
Do you reckon they still let him wear the outfit in prison?
I don't know, man. Depends on what the role play is that day.
But then there must be all these protest leaders just like getting ripped in prison. Like, that scene in the movies where the guys are like, getting ripped, preparing for revenge.
Getting buff.
And they getting really buff and then like come out of prison.
Yeah,
and,
that's why actually, if you see, like, I think today in the newspaper they were taken to, I think, the court again today. I think I read something, and you'll always notice they'll never show you their arms.
Right.
They're hiding their guns.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Prison tattoos.
I was
Yeah.
thinking that, I think that shower gel has made the showers in prison a lot safer.
Yeah, 'cause you don't have to worry
You don't
about
have to
picking
pick
it
up the soap, You're like, I dropped it. I'll just hit this pump again.
Yeah, exactly. That's good enough. I'll take it. No, I think, and
I'm
so
clearly thinking about the important issues with this protest.
all I'm saying is that if the people who are in prison, unfortunately now, really do get pumped, I'm looking forward to the new
Getting
calendar.
pumped is not the right
I mean,
expression to use.
getting buffed up or whatever. I look forward to that calendar. The like, it's gonna come. It's gonna happen. I'm telling you. That is the next protest.
Yeah, but who's going to be on the June one? That's the question.
Oh, I don't know. That'll be too hot to handle.
Yeah. So what do you hope for the city?
I
That can we just
Fantastic
that
segue.
sound?
Oh man.
What do you hope for the city?
So I said there's one more thing we haven't covered if we have time. Do we have time?
Yeah.
The other thing that, of course, happened in the last few months is political reform. So we already had a pretty rigged electoral system right here in Hong Kong that always guaranteed majorities for the pro-Beijing parties. And so what's happened is that Beijing decided not rigged enough. We need to rig it even more. And so in March at the National People's Congress, they announced a whole raft of new election laws that have just passed through LegCo here, which now mean that the number of genuinely elected seats in the LegCo go from half the seats to sort of 20 out of 90. A bunch of seats get appointed directly by this pro-Beijing election committee. The seats have all been gerrymandered to sort of split up the urban vote and the rural vote, and just to really, really make sure that the election system is completely rigged in Beijing's favour. So that's been sort of the other big development of the last couple of months.
And how has that been received?
Everyone has been joyful, outpouring support for what they've called it ensuring patriots rule Hong Kong.
Well, damn, that's an interesting to speak about. This repeated message that only patriots can be in office.
Why do you want the NFL team to come to Hong Kong? Hey, look at that guy throwing in that easy joke.
Well, the other funny thing is that they've been saying Hong Kong will be so great once we pass these reforms because then patriots will be ruling Hong Kong, ignoring the fact that Beijing parties have controlled the LegCo since 1997. And Beijing handpicked candidates have been the CE since 1997. So, have we not already had patriots ruling Hong Kong for the last 20-some years?
It's also ironic that, are you a patriot if you're doing the easy thing and going along with the power? The patriots are the people who are putting themselves at risk because they love the city, right?
Yeah, that's what
Isn't that like the definition of a
it depends
patriot?
how you define patriot, right?
Yeah. Patriot of what?
Right.
Yeah, exactly. But then, I think I did see recently that they did also invite Democrats to join the elections, encouraging them, hey, you can still join and lose.
Yeah, I think they desperately need that to legitimize the process, right? They have to have. And I think the idea is that like we have in Macau now, there are sort of some pro-democracy politicians, like a tiny handful on their LegCo, just to sort of make a token opposition presence, and they want the same thing in Hong Kong. They want at least a few Democrats on LegCo just to make it look, hey, we've got a democracy, see, we've got opposition parties, it's all legit. But everyone knows that there's no chance they'll have any kind of meaningful representation or any kind of meaningful say.
And are they, because, when we spoke in January, that all stepped down. Are they going to participate in this? Are they going to legitimize it?
Well, I think they're in the middle of a really sort of hot internal debate at the moment on that very question. And there's been sort of some of that discussed in the media as well. Is what should they do? On the one hand, if they agree to participate, they are sort of legitimizing this, arguably illegitimate system. If they don't participate, then they're completely excluded. They don't even have a voice and don't even have a seat at the table. So neither are good choices, really. And I think there's a lot of internal dissent among them as to what is the right thing for them to do in this situation. I think there's kind of no easy answers, really.
And what about yourself? Do you feel... so this is your third time on the podcast.
Yes.
First time we spoke, you were pretty open and free.
Yeah.
Happy protesting and life is great. Second time... I think you were a bit more measured in what you were willing to say. And how do you feel about it now?
Look, certainly it feels like week by week, month by month, the environment is getting more restrictive. And I don't speak as openly as I would have done in the past. By way of example, last week, Claudia Mo judgment came out. One of the things the court cited is, she was speaking to the BBC. BBC contacted me and said, hey, would you like to comment on this Claudia Mo judgment? I said, no, I don't think I will, actually.
Exactly.
Thanks for the invitation.
And is that a BBC journalist that's based in Hong Kong that's contacted you? Probably someone you know, right?
No, it was just sort of a producer, sort of. So, someone
from outside Hong Kong.
From outside Hong Kong, yeah. But I mean, the invitation is sort of, hey, would you like to talk on the BBC about how someone who spoke to the BBC is now in jail?
Yeah.
Probably not an invitation I'm going to accept anymore, which I would have done in the past.
How BBC... are they thinking through their approach here at all?
I don't know, man. Maybe they're part of the Chinese government now. It's like, I just call one of these guys, ask them this question.
It was a fishing trap, wasn't it?
That's
Exactly. That's what it was, man.
Yeah.
It's a stupid test.
You agreed? I don't actually have questions. What? Oh crap! I got to work now.
I got to level with you. This was a prank call.
Yeah, you're on the show. Hey.
yeah. So I mean, all these things are making, increasing this sort of this climate of fear, I suppose you could say, in Hong Kong, where people are less willing to speak out and less willing to dissent in whatever ways they might have dissented in the past. So.
And what's your prognosis from now?
Let's see. I mean, it's really difficult to say. I think the city's going through a difficult time, and it's a dark time for everyone. There are, people leaving, people trying to figure out what their place in the city is going to be in the future, and I think I ultimately have hope, as I've said many times in the past. I ultimately have hope because the people in this city are people who are who very passionate about the place that they live and care about it deeply, and we've seen them express that passion in many ways over the years, and most of them are still here, even if some percentage choose to leave. The others are all still here, and I think they'll continue to want to make their home a place that is the home that they want to live in. So that's what gives me hope.
So there's no hope that rush hour on the train is going to be better, right? People are still going to be stuffed into that train. Still too many people.
I think we're going to get to a point where the only people left in the city is you two. And you're going to get on the MTR. He'll be in the priority seat. Yeah, and you'll be like, well, hang on.
It's priorities for white dudes, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't that what it's for?
Exactly. Have I missed something?
Should we get rid of all of the British laws?
Do you not see the sign of the silhouette is white color? Do you not see it?
Well, Anthony, we really appreciate you sharing all your time and insight.
Yeah,
so
thanks.
thank you so much for coming on today.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Always good to chat.